Hi, I'm Sean Martin, President and founder of Donek Snowboards. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we print the graphics that go on top of the boards that we build. We use a process called digital dye sublimation. This process involves digitally printing our artwork on paper and then laying that paper in contact with our plastic substrate, our top sheet, applying heat and pressure, and that heat and pressure transfers the ink that's on the paper into the plastic. We use an inkjet printer to print our graphic onto a piece of paper like this. And the paper we use is a special type of paper designed specifically for dye sublimation. This paper holds the ink on the surface as opposed to absorbing it, so that when we heat the ink up, it actually comes off and goes into the material. The ink is a sublimation ink. What is sublimation? Sublimation is something that we all learned about in high school, science class, but probably forgot about. It's actually a process by which a material goes directly from a solid to a gas. It does not exist in a liquid state. The material you're probably most familiar with that sublimates is dry ice. Okay. I'm going to give you a little demonstration of what happens to the inks when we heat them up. So this is a piece of paper with some of our dye sub ink printed on it. We've got a heat gun here, and I'm just going to heat it up. And what you're going to see happen is the ink is going to disappear, and unfortunately there's a little too much of a breeze generated by this gun to be able to see the colored gases coming off the paper. But you'll definitely see them go away. And I'll zoom in on this, but I'm going to move it around a little bit. This thing gets pretty hot, and it kind of hurts my thumb, so I'll have to excuse that. But we'll go ahead and give this a shot. Okay, so you can see that most of the color has disappeared from this piece of paper. The yellow and red seems to go away best. The blue stripe in the middle here tends to kind of turn black. I'm not sure why, but the blue goes away and it leaves behind a little black stripe. And almost all of the black has disappeared as well. And really what's happening when we've got that material right against our piece of plastic, just right against that piece of plastic, instead of just going off into the air, it's going directly into the plastic. And the pores of the plastic allow it to penetrate, and the ink becomes a permanent part of that plastic once it cools. And it actually goes very deep into the plastic, so when you scratch the top sheet, you don't remove the graphic, you just put a little scratch in the surface. Okay, so what I have here is one of our computer setups that prints the artwork for us, and I've generated a little sample piece of artwork to print for you. And basically it contains stuff that you might put in a custom piece of artwork if you wanted to design your own artwork, or we might do as well. Basically, it's got some photographic elements and vector elements or illustrative elements. Essentially, I have a photo of my family and one of the top sheets that we already print. So I'm going to go ahead and hit print here. Let's see, got to make sure a couple things are set right. And I believe everything's good. So that's going to start coming out of this printer here next to me. And we'll go ahead and transfer that in a little bit. And you can see what it looks like. See the entire process, at least on a small scale, how it works. Okay, so that's finished printing. We'll go ahead and cut it off the printer here. Okay, so there's the artwork. We're going to go ahead and transfer that next. And you can see how it all works. Okay, so I've got my clamshell press here all heated up to about 350 degrees. I've got our sample graphic print right here. And I've got a piece of top sheet material about the size of the sample graphic. And what I'm going to do is lay it on top of my artwork just to position it, make sure there's no dust on it. And I'm going to set it inside our clamshell press here. Close that up. Leave it closed for about 60 seconds. Now the reason I'm doing this on a small scale is the process that we use for transferring full-size snowboard top sheets utilizes the exact same principles, but it is proprietary and we don't want our competition seeing exactly what we're doing there. So this is basically exactly what we're going to do, or very similar to what we're going to do out there, but the piece of equipment we use is something we designed and we don't want everybody else to know about it. So basically what's going on right now is that ink is essentially evaporating or sublimating off of the surface of the paper and penetrating the pores of that plastic and dyeing it. So let's see, we got about 10 more seconds here and we can pull this thing out and you'll be able to see what it looks like. Okay, there's 60 seconds right there. Now, pull off the paper and you can see that there's basically no ink left on it. It's almost all gone. And this sucker's going to be real hot, so we'll see what I can do here. But, yep, it's a little too hot for me to handle. Let's do this. So, that artwork is transferred into the top sheet. Once it's cooled, we can laminate it onto the top of a snowboard if we want to. And we've got our graphic. Hopefully you found this video informative as far as how we do things. If you're interested in designing your own custom artwork, hopefully it's shown you what is possible. And thanks for watching.